about right here, and they hauled me off, and that's when the crowd kind of went wild. They were pretty upset, understandably so.
You've probably seen this video before. About a year ago, Sara Walton Brady was arrested for trespassing at Kleiner Park in Meridian. It was during Idaho's stay-at-home order, and the playground was closed. Her arrest sparked protests at City Hall and became a flashpoint in the debate over the proper role of government in a health crisis. 1 year later, Sara Brady is still awaiting her day in court.
She's facing a misdemeanor trespassing charge and says she plans to fight it. She spoke exclusively with CBS 2's Denny Hawkins about the impact of that now fateful day.
What does it feel like to be back here? How does that settle in your mind?
Yeah, so I've been back here a lot of times since the arrest, since it reopened a couple of weeks later or a few weeks later. And, you know, every time I come, it's surreal. It's surreal that I've taken my kids so many times to this playground prior to the arrest, so many times after, and that I was arrested. I mean, it's surreal.
You know, obviously that happened during a time where there were still a lot of unknowns. There's a lot of fear in the community with people who just weren't sure probably how to handle anything or what to do. Knowing what's happened since, do you regret being here at all that day?
I don't, and I still, at this point, I still am resolute in the fact that I didn't rip down any I didn't rip down any caution tape. Mm-hmm. So no, I don't regret taking my kids to a playground. You know, I asked my kids to get off to go and talk to officers about what was going on, and I mean, to be honest, I was standing in a legal part of the park. The park was open. I mean, if you recall, this park was open. Mm-hmm. It was the playground equipment that the officers told us was closed, and I never touched it once. I never prevented officers from taping it back up. I mean, if I had a do-over, I mean, there's not a lot of people who have an experience where an interaction that they have with someone who's probably it's not the most pleasant is shown literally all over social media. If I had known it was going mega viral, I maybe would have paused for a second and then tried to engage the officer. But I think at that point, you start counting down to a mother at a playground. It's pretty disrespectful.
Have you been in communication with that officer at all since?
I haven't.
Okay. If you were to talk with him today, what would you say?
I would say that I don't hold any ill will towards him. I don't. I hope he rethinks. I mean, if it was his wife and who took their kids to a playground, how would he want someone to treat them? That's what I would hope that would at least be considered from him. So, yeah. But I mean, if he reached out right now and said, "Let's go get coffee," I'd be like, "Great, let's go talk about it." I think it's great to have civil conversation, and you know, maybe he disagrees with me and I can disagree with him, and I don't know, everybody makes mistakes, and I think it's good to be able to come back and, you know, try to make it better or improve from it.
Your husband's a police officer. How did this impact him?
Well, this incident in particular didn't really, I mean, it's impacted him in the sense that now I have a legal battle hanging over me, and that has been stressful on our family, because it's time consuming. Having gone through, you know, I'm now on my third lawyer, status hearing after status hearing after status hearing, and it's not moved forward, at least until the point of setting a trial that's actually, you know, to the point of completion. That's been hard.
What did you hope to accomplish by taking the stance that you did that day?
You know, I think in that moment it was just moms taking their kids to a playground are not criminals and should not be treated that way. And I think, you know, at the end of the day, if a mom who's addressing a police officer about a closure of a playground and she gets arrested, I think there needs to be some change in the system. And I'm gonna be going through that.
What's your takeaway from this whole experience?
You know, I think humans are fallible, and I think the government is made up of humans who are fallible as well. And I think that, you know, looking back, it's helped me develop a lot of patience with people and understanding, and you know, but still at the end of the day, if we feel like something is happening that we feel like is either unfair or an injustice, we should stand up when we feel like something is happening that's not right.
At this point, what do you hope to accomplish? What do you hope comes out of this going forward?
Well, I'd hope to be found not guilty, honestly. But if I'm found not guilty, I think that, you know, at the end of the day, I would say if I'm found guilty, they don't know enough about the case. Being as I was standing on wood chips, was never touching a closed portion of the park. You know, at this point, I think it's just about showing an example that if you truly believe something and you stand for something, then you carry that out all the way. So, you know, at this point, I think I'm setting an example for a lot of other moms out there that are fighting the same thing. So I'm not going to plead guilty for being a mom.